I'm here. We're here.
There you go.
I just want you to
Alright.
hear me smacking my lips.
Why not?
Got the prettiest lip smacking sound, I tell you.
Don't look at me while I'm eating.
Glad I don't have a banana. It'd be a little weird.
All right, welcome to Undergroundopolis, guys. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Death Mountain Spiders, Evansville, Indiana, baby.
Your job in the band, Richard, is
Lead singer and bass.
we also have your drummer sings, Greg sings,
Greg?
Yep.
which is unusual, especially for a punk band. He sings a lot. Jake?
No, not really much vocals. I mean, a little bit of the background, but just mainly
Lots of lip
guitar.
smacking.
That's enough.
A bunch of lip smacking and playing guitar. So how did Death Mountain Spiders come together?
Ricky.
2018, a buddy of ours, Ron Latham, and I started playing some music together. And it just kind of evolved. We went through a couple people, guitarists, a couple different drummers, and we landed where we're at now. Best drummer in the game, best guitarist in the game, and I'm here.
Come on.
So tell me, who was it that it really, like, for yourself, Richard, who else was it? Who was it that you saw as like, who's the musicians like it, or you said, I want to do that?
Brad Knoll, Sublime.
Huh?
I was like, okay, I want to fucking rock and roll like that motherfucker. But that's not nothing like I do. I just, you know what I mean? So I'd have to say that my influence musically, not inspirationally, would be more like, your Misfits and your garage punk bands, Ramones, real simple 3-4 chord, straightforward to the point and get in your face. I can't play a whole lot of notes and do a whole lot of fancy stuff. If I could, my band would be like, we'd sound like Sublime.
Greg?
Oh, lots of stuff. Primarily Metallica, I guess, would be the first band when I was little.
Oh God!
Yeah, well, you could suck it.
Hey,
that was the changing point for me when I was little, and eventually evolved into more punk. Bad Religion's definitely a top for me. Pennywise, let me some Lagwagon, stuff like
Jake?
that.
I was introduced to music at a great age. I used to watch my brother do sit-ups to the Black Album. Like he would just, do as many as he could, and that always like rang, top notch to me. And then Kurt Hammond's guitar solos. I mean, come on, And then I got into heavier, real more progressive death metal type stuff, but couldn't play it well on guitar. You know what I mean? So I was at this like crossroads of what do you want to do, because you can't play death metal, but you can play regular guitar. So it's like, I started venturing out and liking some more normal music, and it hasn't done me any wrong.
I called you a horror punk band. Is that a correct assessment? Would you think of it?
high energy rock and roll is what we call ourselves.
Yeah.
But
there's horror element into it.
The aesthetic is definitely horror punk, black and white, and,
spiders.
But I like to think for the most part, most of our songs are pretty poppy, upbeat, I should say, not poppy. Lyrically, anyway, it's not like doom and gloom. A lot of love songs, really, for the ladies.
Feed Me Nicotine. That's definitely a love song. Which is my favorite song.
My love for cigarettes. Yeah, that song stems from middle school. When I was in middle school, I went to this place called Tompkins Middle School, and like a block away from the school, whenever we'd walk, there was these apartment buildings, and these apartment buildings had like a closed off area where the garbage dumpsters were, and that's where we would all smoke cigarettes before school, is back here by the dumpsters and shit. So Cancer Corner that's the name of that place. So yeah, all those songs that I wrote like are pretty much like I guess my life. Like some of them are actual conversations that I've had, and just word for word conversations that I've had, and things like that.
Do you write? What is your creative process like?
Music first, always. We always come up with some kind of cool riff, some kind of cool sound, and then if I can, what I like to do is have everybody in the room playing like at a rehearsal or practice, and then just kind of come up with a couple words, and then I'll go off of that. I really hate to like write something and then try to match music to it. You know what I mean? I'd rather have the music already first, and that way I could be like, well, this kind of sparked my interest, or what was going on at the time. What conversation did we have like right then, like, right before we started playing? Sometimes that's involved.
Usually the music first, and then the vocals kind of mold the song.
Yeah, always music first. Or we'll record practices or something like that, and then I'll listen back to it and be like, oh, I kind of catch an idea. And some songs come out real fast, and some of them, we've worked on for a little while.
We'll jam for like 20 minutes straight.
Yeah, the next
time we won't remember exactly what we did, so not do it again.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of songs to the ether.
Mm-hmm.
Completely take the song and slow it down and make it a total different sounding song. That's what we like to do too. Right. Make it a jazz or a poppy,
We like to do that a lot.
Yeah, it's just some weird, it's like, hey.
I like to think if people seen us practice, they would be like, who the fuck is that? Like, that's not even the same band I just saw live. You know what I mean?
Where all have you played at this point?
Here in town, there's a couple bars, a dive bar that we really like, TJ's, Bokeh Lounge, shelter houses. People rent out shelter houses. We've done house parties. And then down there in Louisville, we play in Louisville a lot. I'd say probably more than up here. Probably more than up here. We do Louisville a lot. We're all over. 21st Amendment Tavern mostly. We've done Brewskis. We've done... Where else? We were scheduled to do Mag Bar right before all this shit hit. So we'll probably go back there. March, we're going up to Indy and Melody Inn for Punk Rock Night, March 20th. That'll be live streamed too.
That's big there.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Big stuff there, man. Melody Inn.
I'm happy about that.
Well, do you have a favorite show you played?
Mm-hmm.
I love this question.
First Mount Carmel show.
Yeah, the first Mount Carmel show?
Yeah.
It was pretty fun.
Because it was inspirational.
Yeah.
Music, I guess,
Yeah, it was actually. Do you remember that, Jake?
Yeah, it definitely was an all-around experience, from the kids dancing, man. That was the main take home. When kids get dancing and moving and stuff, and then we had a problem with somebody and then a song became of it, which is, that's what you want. You want to take those bad emotions and to put them into a song. Nobody got hit in the mouth. It wasn't Punk Rock Night where, everybody was kicking everybody and we beat up this guy up. We didn't. We chose to take a different path and the song came out of it. And the kid, knowing that if we would have messed that night up, and, either got in a fight with that guy or got kicked out of there, right, and not get to play that show. But us choosing the other path and playing the show and watching those kids, it just, and then for a song to become out of it, it's like the best experience.
Not only that, but we played even harder that night too. We killed it that night.
Yeah, we had a little bit of anger behind us.
Well, what song came out of it?
Radio Silence.
Yeah, Radio Silence.
Is that Radio Silence? Because I love Radio Silence.
The whole album came from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the story goes like this. The guy that runs the venue up there was a little drinky. And I guess he had one too many or whatever, and we weren't setting up fast enough for him. I mean, we were on stage, like, hooking all our gear up, getting ready to roll, and he's out in the fucking, where's 10 minutes of Radio Silence? You all need to be playing this dead air and all this shit, And we're like, hey, man, we're doing what we can, And he gets up on stage, and he gets in Greg's face, and, like, really, like, in his face and, like, yelling at him and shit. And I thought Jake was going to fucking pit bull him right there, but we kind of, hey, man, back up. I told him, fucking go sit down. I said, go sit down and enjoy the show, man. We're getting ready to play. Everything's going to be cool. So he went and he stood right in front of me and kind of fucking stood there and, mean mugged me and shit. And I said, that's cool, man. I love that energy, fucking bring it to me. So we got ready to rock and roll, man. And we just fucking rocked hard. And then after that, he was like, oh, you guys are great. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And he apologized and shit eventually and everything. But him up there bitching and hooting and hollering about radio silence kind of
Just derived the name.
Yeah, just derived the name and it got my wheels thinking. And then I come up with a bunch of like different metaphors, like, got to strike while the iron is hot. And, just shit like that. Early bird gets the worm and shit. And I just come up with a bunch of different metaphors and strung them all together. And that's how that song came about.
All over.
But it's pretty good.
Probably Danger, Radio Silence, and Feed Me Nicotine are probably my go-tos when I'm which I do. I do listen to you on Spotify quite a bit. Mike Siegel, Facebook viewer, says you guys played Metal Fest 9. Yes, they did.
Yes, yep. Oh, hey, he'll be happy to hear that we're recording right now. The logo that you have on behind you has got that Dirty Dog emblem in it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that Dirty Dog is a production company that we're working with right now to produce this album. Basically, what we're doing is redoing all this since we've reformed as a band. The songs sound a little bit different, so we're going to re-record all of Radio Silence. We've added a couple songs to it, and then we're also recording all of our covers. So we'll have a recording. We'll have a recording of Hurt out there, and a couple others. I'm not going to say some of them we haven't done yet, and we haven't like shown everybody. So, but Subliminal, Hurt, we'll be playing those, or we'll have recordings of those.
That's awesome.
We'll just post them to YouTube. We're not going to sell those.
Ah,
but we are going to reissue Radio Silence, better sounding, better quality, and with a couple more songs on it. Least favorite.
There's a lot of them. They're always.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and go on that. Hey.
Yeah.
Our last show, in retrospect, was probably my least favorite because I took a break from the band. 8 months, maybe a year, and then that was the first show, and it was after COVID, this, that, and the other. So you've got that kind of pressure, and then just playing. Nothing was wrong. And I didn't have like an off day. I wasn't feeling any kind of way. Everything was fine. I played like shit. And that happens to people, Sometimes you catch a person, you hear their best concert, and sometimes you don't, and that's more focused on me and what I've got to do, in the here and there, off work and stuff is play the fucking guitar. To be in a band, you have to play the guitar too. So it was just that issue. It wasn't my own rig, but somebody fortunately let me use their rig, and so
shout out to Amongst Vultures.
Yeah,
great band. Great
Homeboys.
Do you prefer the studio or the stage?
Stage.
100.
Yeah.
And why?
This is more fun, man.
Yeah.
The energy
you can feed off the people's reactions. You get a little loose. Crack a couple jokes.
Yeah, and you're not under a microscope, with the studio. Yeah. Everything you do, whether you like it or just kind of pass it and say, it'll be all right. That'll always, when you put on that record, it's going to be there. It's going to be.
Yeah. And then it eats at you and you're like, fuck, I should have redone this. I should have redone that.
Yeah. And that's
another reason that we're redoing this album. The first time around, I think we did it pretty fast. Yeah. Like we recorded that whole album in like maybe 6 hours.
We wanted to get something out fast.
We wanted it, that was it. And we were just anxious and we were like, oh, we can do it. And we did it, but it didn't yield the best results.
Right. The recording process was good, man. It was just us rushing, trying to get something out.
Yeah.
Been there.
That's what it was.
All right. This time we're gonna take our time and do it right.
Right. Because I feel like the Radio Silence album that's on Spotify now, which I'll keep it on there. I'm not gonna change it or nothing, but we'll do this next one and I'll call it Radio Silence. It'll just be transmuted. It'll be, just a different. All the songs will sound the way we think they should sound. I don't think that's a good representation of our sound on that particular album. Those recordings, anyway.
Well, what's your favorite song? Death Mountain Spiders song to play?
My favorite song to play is probably Death Card. I really like Death Card a lot right now. You ask me a week, I'll tell you something different. But right now, I'm going to say Death Card. I really like that song.
About you, Greg?
My favorite right now is a new one, Killing Machine.
Killing Machine's great.
I really like that one. It's
Jake?
fast, it's fun.
Those are all cool. Yeah, I like Danger. You know, Danger's evolved from really day one. It just keeps on evolving, you know. And I have yet to do guitar parts in the studio, and I've got some stuff for it. So, and it's got that, you know, it's got that triple in there. So it's like 3 songs, and you know, nothing's too fast, but nothing's too slow. It's right up my alley. Danger's.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
If you could take Death Mountain Spiders and open for anybody, who
open for anybody?
Yes.
I'm opening for Lamb of God. That's who I'm opening for.
Who's like the fucking biggest shit right now? Ariana Grande? Who's super fucking huge? Anybody who's super fucking huge that's gonna have like hundreds of thousands of fucking people at their show. That's who I want. I want to get our music to as many ears as possible.
AC/DC. They just had a #1 something, didn't they? Again?
Who?
AC/DC? Yeah. We can open.
Yeah, I'd open for AC/DC.
Yeah, there you go.
I hate their fucking music.
It makes me mad that they're still making music.
I know, it does.
A whole nother,
it does.
To each their own, man. I mean, you know.
Fuck.
I was having a conversation with someone the other day and was talking about tribute bands. It's like, could you imagine how hard it would be to be in an AC/DC tribute band? Because every song they've been making the same album for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so every song is so similar, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's like, could you imagine trying to remember those songs?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that doesn't do that. This song, it does that in Livewire.
Transition to a different song.
Yeah. It's kick, snare, snare, not kick, snare. Yeah, every drum beat's the same. That's a terrible band.
I'm doing Thunderstruck. If I'm that cover band, I'm doing Thunderstruck and taking a shot every time. You know, like when you're supposed to. And then maybe it'll be fucking fun. But until then.
You end up like Bon Scott there, buddy.
I still love AC/DC. I can't help it. I probably always will.
Hey, man, old school rockers, dude, are diehards. And that's great. Do it to it.
Yeah, I mean, fundamental elements, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, shit. You wouldn't have anything that you have now without fucking Kiss and those bullshit bands.
Right.
What would be one message you would give to your fans?
True, man. Fuck it. What now?
What would be one message you would give to your fans?
Come see us play, man.
Definitely. Bring your friends.
Yeah.
Bring your nannies and your pappies.
Help us out.
Bring your kids. Bring your dog. Your dog loves Death Mountain Spiders.
Definitely the dog. The dog does.
Dude. Do you have a useless talent?
I don't think so.
I can do that. Dude.
What's that?
I can bend my thumb back.
Is that even a talent?
I don't know. It says it's useless.
I mean, I can bend my thumb, dude. Like, who can't bend their thumb, dude?
A lot of people can't bend their thumb.
We can do that.
That's about it, man.
Can you bend your thumb, Jake? Look,
see,
dude.
you can't
go left.
See?
There you go.
He bent it.
No, I can hula hoop real fucking good, man. I'm like 6-7 minutes like straight hula hooping.
Pretty sexy too.
So what do you think the projected release of the follow-up album will be?
Probably closer to summer.
Yeah, I'd say close to 3 months, couple months.
You're still calling it Radio Silence.
Radio Silence transmuted.
Okay.
Changed. Reformed.
Right.
That's the first time.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say.
Yeah.
We just talked about this.
Yeah. Jake hasn't heard this idea yet.
Right.
Hey man, whatever you want to call it, just
yeah.
Before we wrap this up, I always ask my guests to tell their favorite bad joke. So
That's
I know one of you's got a horrible joke that you'd love to share.
Here, I got a joke. All right, so there's this chick, and she goes to her gynecologist, and she's like, "Man, I got all these stamps from the Columbia all up in my vagina. What's going on here?" And she says, "No, those are the stickers from bananas." We're Deathbound Spiders. You're tuned in to Undergroundopolis. That was terrible.
That was terrible.
I'm just